Hey guys, welcome to Amity Tracks. I want to do a review of Chris Stapleton's new one, Higher. Now, this came out, I guess, when I'm recording this probably about a week or so ago, but I've just kind of gotten around to listening to it seriously, so was inspired to talk about it a bit. Now, longtime viewers of this channel know I don't cover a lot of country music. Uh, there's some of it I appreciate, especially kind of going back into the Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash stuff. Of course, I love that. But a lot of the newer country I don't really follow. I'm starting to get a little more interested in it. You compare to the vast wasteland of the pop landscape right now. But Chris Stapleton, as many of you know, is something a little different anyway. Um, Made a huge splash on the country scene when he released his debut Traveler, which is phenomenal, I think. And he's I think he's the only country artist where I do own every one of his albums. he's only This is his fifth one. He's only got five out, but where I eagerly await his next release, and that's uh, as far as the number of country artists I can count where that is the case. It's one. so so yeah, I do want to talk about Chris Stapleton a bit. I discovered him however many years ago. I was The CMAs were on the TV, and I was cynically sitting there with my wife, making fun of all the bro country and the pop country and all this stuff. And then this guy came out, and I was literally just like slack jawed, like stunned. It's like this guy had an authenticity, and it wasn't even close. He blew everybody else out of the water. And I don't even remember what song he came out and sang, but it was just like, and so I immediately ran out and got this, and have collected everything else. So yeah, I mean, again, I don't know how much I need to tell you about Chris Stapleton. Although, like I said, if some of you guys are my regular viewers who maybe don't explore country, maybe you do need a little primer on Chris Stapleton. But yeah, he's country, but he's to me he's every bit as southern rock and R&B and folk, and it's really this great blend, and just American. I just kind of this real American music in some ways. Because he's bringing together all these traditions, not even like Americana, just like American. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you know what I'm talking about if you listen to him. He's got a great story too, right? I mean, he it's not like he came out of nowhere. He was tooling around Nashville forever as a songwriter. And so he wrote a lot of songs for other people until finally he just started recording it on his own. And it's just fantastic. I know I don't know a ton of his background, honestly. Like, I think he's out of Kentucky originally, and played with some other groups for a while, sang with them. Anyway, it's great that he came out on his own and started recording. Obviously, it's been great for him. I mean, he's a phenomenon in the country world, obviously. So uh, that voice. Oh, and the, his songwriting. Uh, I think obviously that's helped him a lot. Because he, writing songs for these other artists for a while. He definitely knows his way around a hook and a melody and a great chorus, and so the songwriting is there. But yeah, the voice, the voice. This is his vocals. It's a once in a generation thing. I mean that it's just the power behind them, and the grittiness and the dirt. That's why I say it's just like American, and he can do a lot with it too. He can pull back when he needs to. He can be clean and soulful, or he can just be as gritty as anybody. And I love it when he really belts it out. But it's cool that he doesn't belt it out all the time because that would get old. And so he spares that, and the person I think compare him most to me is Greg Allman. And I'm comparing someone to Greg Allman. That's something. But honestly, I think he's better than Greg Allman was as a vocalist. He's got more range. He can do more things than just belt it out. So anyway, and that voice is so strong that it can even honestly, it can raise even some mediocre songs to greatness just because of that voice pulls it up. So it's a weapon he has too. I so let's get into this record. You know, he doesn't stray too far off from what he's done before. And I guess one thing I would like to see him do eventually is really stretch out, maybe kind of go try some more risky things. He doesn't do that here, but he just kind of, I think, perfects what he already does awesomely. you know, and so this is a great record. I think it's a great record. You know, I, if there's a flaw, I I really my favorite Chris Stapleton songs are where he really rocks out. I mean, it makes sense. I'm more of a rock guy, so when he really rocks out, or goes all the way the other direction and gets really spare and kind of maybe just him and an acoustic guitar. Just really spare and kind of folksy. I like folk stuff too, so that makes sense, right? And probably my least favorite is when he's kind of in between and he kind of does these ballads. And I mean, it's clear he loves his wife. Uh, I blank on her name. Yeah, Morgane Stapleton. She co-produces here with his longtime producer Dave Cobb, and she sings. She's a singer as well. She sings. She compliments him wonderfully. When she sings backup for him. It's clear he loves her because he. A lot of his songs, are kind of these love songs, and those are the ones I find the least interesting. And he usually packs these albums with a big handful of those. Those are the ones for me that tend to run together. Like I wrote them like Trust, It Takes a Woman, Weight of Your World, Loving You on My Mind, The Day I Die. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five of these songs are just kind of ballads, love songs. Those are the ones I find the least interesting. So, there's just kind of too many of them. They tend to run together for me. But it's kind of also interesting. The second half of this, I think, is better than the first half. It starts off good, but when it gets to around that middle point and then on, I think it's really strong. The musicianship, as always, I mean, you got Nashville guys in there, the professionals. It's always fantastic. Special shout out to the bass player. This guy was a JT Cure, I think. I need to look at the credits. Yeah, JT Cure. Uh, Bass playing is fantastic throughout here. There's all these. I mean, he lays down a solid bass line like he should, but then he throws in. There's a lot of great little bass riffs in there if you listen closely. Really solid. Anyway, let's talk about some of these songs. Uh, like I said, I prefer the rockers, and there's about four of them on there that if he would make a full record of like these, I would be in heaven. It would just be these, and then throw in some of those real spare, just acoustic songs, mix that up. Be perfect for me. It would be perfect. South Dakota, really gritty. Uh, to me, that's one of the most Allman Brothers ish. Yeah, it's got this kind of this riff in there that kind of reminds me, of Midnight Rider a little bit, and his vocals. I mean, I hear Greg Allman all over that. That's great. The bottom is cool. All these great, country song motifs. That's talking, the bottle of a or the bottom of a glass of whiskey, and it's really good. Crosswind is fantastic. The One of those kind of haunted, you know, trucker songs, which are great, and he, his road songs that he does so well, or him, but that I like. I like road songs and rock and country, and it's a great one. Trucker songs. There's a great line in there. Got my notes here. What does it say? Trying to keep all the rubber on 65 might not make it out alive. That's a great line. That's cool. Uh, but anyway, oh, and just that that bass I was telling you about. That's awesome bass line in that song going all the way through, and then some real, just it's like these sort of bass runs that are just, again, what a great bass player he's got in there, and some fantastic pedal steel in that song too from Paul Franklin. So shout out to that one. To me, by far the highlight of this album is the single that's been out that I guess has been number one on the country charts. I think White Horse, that blows me away. And again, it's not surprising. That's as much of a rock song as it is country. I mean, it's a rock song basically, and it's just gritty, just blazing rock song where he's belting it out at 100%, and no one can touch those vocals. Oh man! Although that song's deceptive, right? Because that's the kind of lead single, and you buy this expecting like more of that, and there's nothing else like that on here. So the rest of it's a bit more subdued. But God, that song is just amazing. That's so good. I mean, what else is good here? The opener. What am I going to do? It's a real nice kind of country opener. I mean, perfectly written. Like I said, you can tell that this guy's a professional songwriter. I mean, this guy knows how to write a song. I like Fire. Was it Fire? Is that I think that's the name of the song. Yeah, The Fire. The Fire. I like The Fire. Um, it's got kind of a nice smoldering groove to it. And you can really kind of hear the desire, that he's trying to put across in those lyrics. It's great. Um, the title track is a highlight. It's got that real nice snaky guitar line in there. Again, kind of a slow burner, but reminds me. I'm going to name check someone who's more obscure than Chris Stapleton, but it reminds me a lot of James McMurtry. If you ever listen to James McMurtry, it's kind of some of his type of guitar lines. It's great. It's great. And it's like not even fair. This guy has a voice like he does, and then he throws in this falsetto that, like, I really hadn't heard him do much of, and it's just like, wow. It's like, okay, you can do that too, So, but that's a great song. Um, I did mention that he does drift into the kind of the R&B and kind of soul. Great, so yeah, kind of that sort of Stax Southern soul style. And he's got a couple tunes on here that where he does that as well. So I think I'm in love with you. Again, another great little snaky bass line in there, which is fantastic. Um, was it loving loving you on my mind, right? Yeah, I think yeah, loving you on my mind, which kind of one of those ballads there, but it's got kind of a more of a kind of, like I said, Southern soul kind of stacks like feel to it than more just straight country, which is great. And then finally, the closer. I love the closer, and that's what I'm talking about. Those real spare. I mean, the closer is just him playing acoustic guitar and singing, and "Mountains on My Mind," and that is, I think, lyrically might be the best song lyrically on here. Really confessional, and it's just God, if he could do some more of that stuff too. Like I said, I give the song 4 stars, 4 stars out of five, or this album. I mean, 4 stars out of five. Um, I basically give all of his albums about that rank because his voice usually raises an album at least a star. His vocals alone. And I usually don't do that just for vocals, but like I said, once in a generation singer here. I mean, just such powerful vocals. So yeah, 4 stars because I'm still waiting for a 5-star album from him. I think he's got it in him. He can write songs. If he just kind of gets that right balance, if he made an album full, kind of more of South Dakota, White Horse, The Bottom, Crosswind, Fire, and Mountains on My Mind, kind of those styles, and stretched out over a whole album, and maybe limited his ballads to his wife down to, I don't know, two of them instead of five of them or something. To me, that you're getting close to 5-star territory here. I think he can do it. I mean, he's still got a lot in him. But anyway, I'm nitpicking This is a fantastic record, highly recommended. And for some of my viewers who, like me, might not really be into country all that much, you know, well, this artist and then this album, I think, is one of those that you can go check out. I give it my recommendation. So there you go. Anyway, in the comments, what do you guys think of Chris Stapleton? What do you guys think of this album if you listen to it? Yeah, let's talk higher. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't. Really appreciate it. Hit the bell for notifications, like the videos, share the videos, all that great stuff helps us with that YouTube algorithm. That elusive YouTube algorithm that we're all chasing. So anyway, we appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.